All right. So where did I leave it? Okay, so you guys read the paragraph about James Madison, and can you retell me some of the things that you found about him? Yes.
He was often called the father of the Constitution.
Father of the Constitution. What else do we see about him?
He was
The fourth president. And can I have one more thing about him? Yes.
He and Jefferson worked together.
Yes, they did. All right. So we were moving on to talk about Great Britain and the French. And I read to you the paragraph about how they're going to stay neutral, right? They did not, like the United States, did not want to be part of either of the sides. They just wanted to trade goods. And we looked at the waterway of the French and Great Britain, and the United States is just trying to go through there and trade, but they're like, nope, stay out of the waterway, keep your ships away. We don't want your part in this. So the next paragraph says, you guys can follow along with me. The British forced sailors on American ships to join the Navy. When accused of doing this, the British claimed they did not force American citizens to join their Navy. They claimed that they captured only British deserters. But the Americans did not believe the British claims. The Americans also said that the British were giving weapons to the American Indians in the United States. In June of 1812, the United States declared war on Great Britain. So why would they go to war if they didn't want to? You guys see some clues in the text? I have some pictures here to help you. Why? We're going to read the next one of why would they go to war? Or why would they go to war if they didn't want to? Anyone?
Because the British were capturing people and giving weapons to the Indians that could kill them.
That's right. So they were capturing Americans. What else? Did you guys see one other one? It has to do with this picture. Yes.
The British were giving weapons to the Indians.
Yeah. So they didn't want the Indians turning and fighting against them as well. They're like, hey, stop it. Okay. So that's how the war got started. They didn't like, that they were doing those things. So the next paragraph kind of talks about why America wasn't ready. They weren't ready for war. And if you guys want to read through it quickly, and then we're going to talk about find two reasons why they weren't ready for war. So I know you guys kind of read through it a little bit. You just glance back through there. Two reasons.
Their army was small and their navy was small.
Yep, their army and navy were small. And does anybody else have another reason? Yes.
They were not raised to pay for large army and navy.
Yeah, they didn't have money, right? So they didn't have a national bank. Lots of people said no to the national bank. They're like, we don't want this national bank, that it's not a good thing. It's easy for, the United States to take money and whatever. So lots of people were against it. They didn't have a national bank, but that was a problem, right? When it came to war, they did not have a bank to get money from. So how would they, go to war without money? So that is next. So the next section is the War of 1812. So actually, while you guys read this one, you get to do a little sorting activity. So I'm going to give you guys a chart. You want to help me pass these out? All right. You can pass one of these to everyone, and I'll pass these out. These are little events that happen in the next page, the next section of the War of 1812. And as you guys read through it, I want you to sort in order, and then we'll glue them down at the end. But we don't want to glue them before because we want to make sure we get our answers, right? So the first one, there's one in here that we've already talked about. If you guys unpin them, do you see one that we already talked about? One that's already started. You sort them all out. Thank you. If you lay them all out, you see any one of our little papers that has already happened? Yes.
The war between Great Britain.
Right, the war between Great Britain and France. You guys can lay that at the top block and then read through the next section about the War of 1812 and try and sort the rest of them in order. So we already have this one, the war between Great Britain and France, and now we're trying to read through our text and pay attention to the next things that happen. So you might want to set your little graph off to the side. And put them in order how you think.
Sticks on their desk. Other glue sticks on their desk. My desk. Yes, and if not, I have some ready. Okay. Even one per table.
Okay. Alright, make sure you're reading through it. You don't run out of time.
Are we supposed to glue?
We'll glue them after we check them because we just want to make sure they're all right before we glue anything down. So you guys can keep this. Redo it. Put it in there. That's not the order.
I'm not talking about here. I was. Yeah, where's that? So this.
Couple more minutes and then we'll continue on. If you're done, you can glue down the first one. We know that one's in the right spot. Sorry. Alright, so I think you guys are all finished up. So now, who thinks, alright, you guys have read through this on your own now and you've got to sort them out. Who thinks, what's the next one that happened? So we have the first one, the war between Great Britain and France. But what happened next? It's kind of a weird word, like Tecum save?
I don't know.
I don't know. You just take your best guess. Yeah, he attacked them, right? Did everyone else? Raise your hand if you guys got the same thing. Alright, that's what I got. He attacked their tribe. Okay, so there's a series of different attacks going on, right? As you guys noticed from your cards. What's the next one? Yes.
Americans invaded Canada.
Americans invaded Canada. So they attacked. He attacked this tribe, and then the war is moving around. They're like, let's go get Canada. They thought maybe they'd help them or something, but Canada's like, no, we're not on your side. And so there's a battle that went on there as well. So you guys can do these down as we go through them. So Americans invaded Canada. The next one, somebody who hasn't given one yet. Yes.
Captain Oliver Hazard Perry destroyed the British fleet on Britain.
Captain Oliver Hazard Perry destroyed the British fleet there. So on the Great Lakes, right? They're battling. Yes, that's right. Good job. We'll move that one down. The fifth one. You need blue. The fifth one. What about someone from you guys over here on the table group? Is it either of you the fifth one? Evan, Claudia?
Fifth.
Yes, that's the fifth one.
British attacked Baltimore.
British.
Fort McHenry.
British attacked Baltimore, but the Fort McHenry stood fast. Let's see. Oh, that's on the next slide. Sorry. Yes, this is a picture of the U.S. Constitution. Did you guys read about that in there? Did you guys see anything back? What was something interesting about this book? Did you guys catch that? That was kind of funny. Yeah? Huh? Never mind. There was something kind of funny. Yeah, the cannonballs bounced off the ship because it was so strongly built. So you're right, the next one. British attacked Baltimore, but Fort McHenry stood fast. So this is actually a picture of Fort McHenry, kind of where they were. And so we talked about the Star Spangled Banner at the beginning. This is where this ties in. So after British failed their attack, Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner. This is kind of what like his first, one of the beginning drafts of it looked like. It's kind of cool looking, antique-y. All right, what's the next one? Next one. Yes.
The Bush and Americans signed a treaty to end the war in control.
They signed a treaty. Did everyone else get that too? The next one. Yep, they signed the treaty. So they're like, we're done. These are kind of a map of all the different wars they had all over the place. There's lots of little battles going on. And they were tired of the war, and it was costing them so much money. They're like, that's it, we're done. We'll sign the treaty. And the next one, what happened? It was kind of interesting that this happened after they signed the treaty and ended the war.
The Americans defeated the British at New Orleans.
Yeah, they defeated the British in New Orleans. So this actually, back then news, they didn't have like cell phones like we do now, so news wasn't traveling super fast. And they didn't know that the war had ended. So in New Orleans, they had one last battle, and the Americans defeated the British here. And the next page, I'm going to kind of talk through this one because we don't have time to like read through it. But Andrew Jackson was the war hero, the one that led them to victory there. So he led them to victory in New Orleans, and he was known as a war hero. Your book also has other facts, like he had bullet fragments in his arm and things like that. He lived with the rest of his life from war and all these different things. But there was something interesting about him. He wasn't all, like he didn't honor the peace treaty. And he didn't honor the peace treaty because it said that war is over, okay? So war is over, and now we're going to give back land. We're going to give the Indians back their land. Everything is kind of going to go back. They decided, you know what, it wasn't worth it. We didn't need to do this. We can go back to how it was. But Andrew Jackson liked the land. He didn't want to give it back. So that was one of the reasons why he was not known as a good person. And then James Madison, right, he's our president. He tells Andrew Jackson, all right, you need to give it back. But he was so popular that he didn't even listen to the president. And the founders had warned them against this. They're like, be careful of popular people that can take over and have lots of control in your government. So that was Andrew Jackson. He was a war hero, but also had some negative things involved there. So I want a quick review of the Federalists before we talk about some more after the war. So you guys have learned about this. And they're just a conservative party. They wanted a strong government, right? They wanted the government to kind of be over everything and have limits. So this plays into after the war. So the Federalists didn't want to go to war. They didn't like that the government would go and just conquer things, right? But so after the war, people weren't a big fan of them. They were kind of like, you know what, we don't need you guys. And but James Madison was like, you know what, they did have some good ideas. And so he adopted 3 ideas that the Federalists had. So this is the 3 things. I kind of put pictures for you. He thought that he needed national banks. And you guys know why he thought that? What's one reason? Yeah? Remember from the beginning? Why weren't they ready for war?
Because they didn't have enough money.
They didn't
so
have
it
enough
would
money.
help them
Yeah.
in the next war.
Yeah, so he's like, you know what? I think we need national banks. It's pretty helpful for especially in times of crisis, right? He also thought they needed roads and canals. It didn't specifically talk about this at the beginning, but can you think of why roads and canals might help them? Someone who hasn't talked much, yes. Go ahead. Yeah, either of you.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So then the armies could go to the wars during that.
Yeah, they could travel easier, right? So New Orleans was way south of where all the other wars were. So waterways, they traveled through waterways. Roads and canals was easier for them to get around. They didn't have pavement like that. Those are kind of fancier roads we have now. But the roads and canals would help them to travel and complete their tasks easier. And then army leaders. He wanted permanent army leaders. And anyone else know why he would want permanent army leaders? Yes.
Because they make money quickly.
Yeah, because remember at the beginning, it took them a while. They didn't really have an army or navy ready. And so having permanent army leaders would help them to get one together quicker, right? So they didn't necessarily have a permanent army and navy the whole time, but he thought it was important they at least have leaders, someone who would go step up and take control. So not always do we agree with everyone's ideas. They didn't always agree with the Federalists, right? Like they thought, you know, I don't totally agree with everything. We shouldn't have total government control. But sometimes some people have good ideas, and so we need to be willing to listen to their ideas. And James Madison was, right? He took away some of their ideas and thought, you know what, that's a good idea, and I think you guys might be right there. So that's our lesson today on James Madison and the War of 1812. Thank you for listening. And that's it.
You did very well. I'm so sorry.